Hello, welcome back. Again, back on Kerbal space program, realistic overhaul. I have done exactly what I said. I don't know whether you remember from the end of the last episode. I said I was going to do most of the ship building and plane building, etc. offline, and then I'd just walk everyone through it once we start up again. So I've nearly got there. There's just not enough Delta V to get into a completed orbit. It took a few iterations and a few test flights, etc. Right, okay, so here we have basically a 3-stage one. And as you can see, it's just short on Delta V to actually complete an orbital burn. We have built more than one of them, so we can just do some multiple test flights. And basically the idea is just to try and mop up as much science that's left, basically. So there's nothing special from within inside here. Literally, we've got the X-ray detector, some battery because it was running out of power. Because obviously I haven't unlocked solar panels yet. There's the biological sample, which always works, and here we have procedural tank as well, top and bottom, to be able to power the Aerobee as the final stage. And then obviously after the Aerobee is done, there is this tank as well, which is full of nitrogen for the RCS thrusters. So we can squeeze a little bit out from RCS thrust that isn't listed on the Delta V stats. But the guidance unit's there, which I suppose doesn't need to actually be there, because that, I believe, is the 1 meter guidance unit early, which 1 meter early starting it is, which is 45 tons. So I mean, we could restructure the top end. Now I plan to do a redesign of these now, because there's no need that just this little bit at the top is, well, I'll tell you, it is half a ton. Yet the guidance unit on it can support the entire rocket. Well, we are actually over, I think we're 84 tons. So that's why I've got 2 of them, but they just seem like the most logical places to put them. So anyway, obviously, see how it flies. Don't say. Okay, so let's get it on the launch pad. Obviously now, you know, they're not going to be relevant for this because it's a space probe only. So we don't have to worry about that as such. Let's shift that down to there. Bring that. Let's keep Delta V stuff here. Obviously these are relatively good engines. We've been using them for a fair while. It's the RD103 on the outer 3, and the center one is the RD103 in the M configuration for the basically the extra burn time, because that stage, as you can see from the Delta V stats, burns for 2 minutes and 7 seconds. It has a max burn time of 210. The upper stage has a max burn time of 220, and it's burning for 217. So I've pushed each of the engines just about to within capacity to get it to go up effectively, to try and maximise the Delta V that we get out of this style of rocket. We're not using solid boosts on the side. These are just further RD103s in liquid, which is actually at the moment running liquid ethanol and liquid oxygen. Get a power up on the launch pad. Decouple, and off we go. Right, well, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and bank over relatively. Again, we get these with multi-stage rockets. You get these weird overheating issues, because there's no way that decoupler could be overheating. For a start, it's in the housing. That decoupler is, I don't know whether you can see it just up there if it highlights it. Is, yep, see it there? That's the one inside there fairing. So, and I can't show you the stats, but basically the fairing will take like something stupid like 2,500, 3,000 degrees Kelvin. Second we get out the thick atmosphere, I'm going to start banking over. Just don't want to do it too early, because otherwise the thick part of the atmosphere busts the ship basically. We should be good now. The air's start to thin. Ooh, no, too early. Yep, too early. Damn, Space Center. Okay, so we're off again. This time, obviously, I'm gonna have to wait. I'm just gonna have to wait until this is one of the problems with having such a long, quite narrow rocket, is it doesn't stand up to particularly great aerodynamic pressures. you start to turn while the atmosphere is too thick at those speeds. Oh shit. Yeah, there we go, that will be a test flight, but yeah, engine shut down. We might be able to get some more information about it. No, it just says the idea it failed. The engine shut down. Ah, and then it blew up the tank. Right, well let's see if I can at least salvage some of this one, because I have managed to ignite the other engines, and this still does have a thrust to weight ratio greater than 1, so it is actually, oh crap, it's flyable of sorts. It's not the most. Yeah, the problem is if you could, it's an upper stage engine, so it's only designed for 1 ignition still. Oh well, we can get rid of the fairing. I don't think the Aerobee's got enough. It does actually have a big enough thrust to weight ratio. I'm not sure we have enough distance anymore to save it, but it does have a thrust to weight ratio big enough. No. Right, well we're really getting going now. Obviously, what I've got to do is I think we're really burning through the last bit of this thick atmosphere. So I'm going to ignite the next engine before these 3 fail. Ditch those 3. That looks like a failed connection almost, but I think it's just graphical glitches. That really doesn't look healthy though, does it? It might be worth pointing out that there was recently an update for Realism Overhaul, which, of course, using CCAN, it decides to automatically warn you about and put on, because I've got it configured to keep everything up to date, which, of course, I forgot for the series might cause issues. So, despite the fact that that looks decoupled, at this angle it should have blown off, and the staging would all be different if it really was decoupled. The staging would all be skewed. Right. So this is basically it now. Our apoapsis height is already nearly at the peak of the atmosphere, so I'm just trying to get as much lateral velocity as it creeps up to the 140 mark. And then we're going to burn laterally for the entire duration of the way up to apoapsis. If preferable, really, to keep the apoapsis climbing ever so slightly, I've found with this rocket. Just so that if needs be, it gives you a little bit of leeway to actually burn counter to the orbit you started. Hopefully this one seems to be going really stably. Hopefully it won't burn out with too much delta V left in it, because obviously with these engines not being quite at maximum data units yet, they do that. As you can see, there is potentially quite a bit of fuel left in that. So it's basically wasted delta V. Jettisoning fuel means there's no way it's usable delta V. And now the issue we've got obviously is that basically we're climbing to our apoapsis far faster than we're burning laterally. Just slow that down to a crawl, might give us enough time. It's quite a long burn, this one. This is obviously, just 1 minute. Yeah, it's 2 minutes 17. Was it 2 minutes 7? 2 minutes 17 second burn. Yeah. This is the gamma engine. This can burn for quite a while. Nice, we've stalled. Just about stalled. Basically means we're getting no closer to apoapsis, so we've almost got unlimited burn time. Yes, the apoapsis is increasing, so we are wasting a bit of delta V by still climbing, but it's buying us the time. Oh, bring it back down a bit now, actually. I'm just trying to maximize burn time before we start going back down. But anyhow, I mean, as you can see, we're still not going to have enough, because we're, call it 4,000 meters a second, and there's only 2,500 left because of the jettisoned fuel. So, I can take those off now as well. Nearly there. To the end of this stage, at any rate. There is the upper stage, which obviously is another minute of burn time. Still got 1,600. Yeah, we're going to be about 66, 67 meters a second, which is nowhere near the orbital velocity required. Use the RCS just to stabilize the fuel, which allows us to get a nice clean ignite on that. Oh. Just need to tilt it up slightly because we're beginning to... Yeah, we've started to fall now, so yeah, we're definitely falling. So it's just a case now of how much delta V we can... we've got a fair bit of altitude. I'm going to see if I can maximize the lateral speed we get. Push it here and really push for the orbit. I don't think we're going to get it, not by a long shot. Yeah, we're not going to get it. Leave that burning for a second, but it's not bad overall. Definitely going in the right direction. Nice smooth curve. It should lead to a really nicely rounded. But anyway, let's extend those so we can transmit. There's no point keeping anything because it's a probe, so it's just going to basically explode. That didn't say we got science for that. See, that did. I think when you do more than one at once, you lose the science for them. Yeah, I think we lost the 1 and a bit science from that, which is now totally uninteractable. Since we're dropping, we may as well turn these back off again. Got to turn those off. Not that we're going to have a battery problem thanks to that. I was looking at making that smaller potentially, but basically the problem is the next size down from that is the micron thick one, which basically serves no purpose. But we are officially back in the atmosphere now. I'm just going to quite a way off it looks like from up here. I'm always amazed at how it's beginning to get harder to control now. So we do have stacks of nitrogen. It's worth doing these tests anyhow because we have stacks of nitrogen for maneuvers and everything and holding bearings and things in space. Oh, locked electric charge up there. May as well. Still using the electric charge. Oh, here we go. Yeah, poff. Heat kicks in really, because we're going that fast. Need. There we go, Space Center. So, it wasn't a complete failure. We did actually get some science. I think we got 9 science or something, depending on whether or not it actually got the biological sample, which I don't think it did. Where's all the science got from that mission? We definitely transmitted it, and we haven't gone back in time. That's really frustrating. Where's the science gone? Oh well, right, well I got bugs to work out. It's not much good if we can't collect science. It definitely said in the top left that we actually got science for at least 2 of those. Oh well, KSP. I shall look into... Hi, and welcome back to KSP. For those of you that probably know, KSP was updated the other day, which is causing some pretty serious issues with mods and things like that. Only a handful of the mods have been updated yet to be compatible. It's causing graphic issues, it's causing flight issues, everything. So we may end up, as you can see, having to restart quite a large... There we go. Quite a restart. Well, basically I think the realism overhaul run through that we were doing is totally balked. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure how screwed up it is. I think most of... Well, I think most of everything is screwed basically at the moment because everything's outdated. So I apologise because that's basically my fault because obviously I've been running KSP just as normally in the directory and really I should have copied the whole install and moved it somewhere where it couldn't get auto-updated. So as a result, I don't actually know how stuff is functioning at the moment. It may be playable. There's only 6 mods been updated so far. And graphically, obviously, as you can see, there's just text bugs everywhere because of there's a mod I'm using for re-rendering the Earth's surface, etc., which is posing somewhat weird since I believe Kerbal Space Station has moved. Which is possibly why that's causing all sorts of graphical glitches. And that again is weird because obviously last time I left off with you, I was trying to get stuff into space, and I don't know if you saw, I obviously had 40 odd science left at the start of this. I managed to literally just barely get something into orbit at 180,000 meter orbit, I think, which is only just out the atmosphere. It was pretty circular. I think it was 180 by about 195, 208, something like that. However, for some bizarre reason, this reckons it is 5 million instead of 100 odd thousand. So I'm guessing that the actual mod for resizing all the planets and everything's screwed. That's why that is. So the orbit's probably not changed, but the actual planet itself has shrunk back to normal Kerbal size, I'm guessing. So that's that mod screwed, which means all of the Delta V stuff that we calculated is also screwed. Which is a shame. I do actually have the footage of me finally getting that thing into orbit. So I think what we're going to do is we shall call this series a halt with a successful orbit entry. And then what we'll do is I'll start up a new series, but I will only start recording from the point that I finish this one off at. So basically, as I build a spacecraft that I think should make orbit, we shall pick it up again in the new version once all the mods have been patched and fixed. So again, apologies for that, but this will be the end of the KSP Realistic Overhaul for now at least anyway. So I shall say goodbye and see you shortly. Hopefully it won't take too long for them to patch everything out. So I shall get back to you as soon as I have an update on that, and probably, really hopefully, with the start of a new episode, because I will burn through as quick as possible to get back to where we were, and then we'll just carry on as normal. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you. Yeah, okay, I just thought I'd give you another quick overview. This is kind of the major issue that we have. Obviously, this is everything that was installed because of the Realistic Overhaul, or the Realism Overhaul mod, and its dependencies, etc. And unfortunately now, when you look at incompatible ones, all of this the stuff at the top is what we have installed, and none of which is compatible at the moment. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to have to be waiting for, the fixes to those.